Okay, so you've got that new e-bike, but now you need to know how to use it. This is where I can help. Hi, this is John from the fitness store. I'm going to show you how to use all the functions on the new Aventon Pace 4 e-bike. This is our most popular bike. We sell more Pace 4s than any other bike that we have, and there are quite a few models here in the store. But let me go over a few things with you. First of all, if you talk about the shifting of a bike, and you'll see the shifting looks just like your regular multi-speed bike. It's got a shifter to go up into the next larger, higher gear, and another shifter to go back to the next lower gear. The gears work just like they would on a regular bike. Always pedal forward while shifting, ease off the pressure while shifting, but keep it in a pedal speed that's comfortable for you. You'll find that as you're going up a hill, you'll need a lower gear to keep that cadence up, that speed of pedaling up. You'll find then going down the hill, you'll have to shift it into a higher gear to keep that same cadence, considering you're going faster at that point. So that's stuff that really is the same on a regular bike, a non-e-bike. But let's go into the electronics of the e-bike. And I'm going to put my glasses on. And so what we have here is a display that initially gives you time of day, the speed, your battery life, and the eco tells us that it's in the lowest assistance level. There's eco, there's sport, and I press the plus button to move up, and then there's turbo. Turbo is going to give you the most assistance, but the shortest battery life. Eco will give you the least amount of assistance, but the longest battery life. This particular bike will get 70 miles on a charge when used in the eco mode. We'll talk about a couple of other things. First of all, when you press the button here and hold it, you'll get your headlight. You'll also get tail lights. And while we're at it, this bike has brake lights. So when I grab either the front or rear brake, I've got lighting. And of course, it also has signal lights. So by pressing the arrow on the screen, I'm going to get the left signal light or the right signal light. And Aventon even thought of a foolproof way of making sure you're not that person driving down the road with your signal light on. After 30 seconds, the signal lights turn themselves off. So that's lighting. And I'm going to go ahead and turn those off again while we're here showing you the rest of the console. You'll also note that when you turn your headlights on, the console dims down a bit. They assume that if you're riding at night, you don't need such a bright display, so the display dims. When you turn the headlight off again, then the display brightens up. So let's go over some more functions of this display. So basically we talked about the basics, and that would be the time and the battery life and of course the speed and the level of assistance. But let's talk about more things that this bike does. First of all, if I press the plus and minus buttons together and hold them, I'm putting the bike into the main menu. First of all, this gives us the ability to clear the trip distance. The trip distance, and I didn't show you that initially, I'll go back to that, how to get into that a little later. But the trip distance can be cleared by simply pressing the middle button once, pressing clear trip, the middle button again, and it said success, and we're good to go. We scroll down then to battery lock. This is the electronic way of removing the battery by pressing the middle button once. Puts us in that mode. A second time would literally release the battery, not to drop it on the floor, but to release it so that then you can grab it and take it out on your own. That's battery lock. We'll hit back. Bike lock. This bike has a pretty unique way of locking itself by pressing bike lock and then pressing it again, and you'll listen for a moment after I press the button. There's a little chopper wheel in back that a pin mounts itself in. And now the bike, it'll roll a little bit, but at some point then that pin engages the chopper wheel and it locks the bike up. So if you want to make sure that when you walk away from your bike, at least somebody can't hop on it and roll away, the bike lock comes in really handy. We're going to unlock it again. And then we'll get out of this screen and we'll scroll down to the next function, which is display the units. This simply allows you to choose between miles per hour and kilometers per hour. Brightness allows you to change the brightness of this particular screen. Right now it is at its brightest, so the only thing I could really do is dim it down a little bit. Auto power, it gives you the ability to set it so that the bike is either going to auto power off, which is what it'll do now. So after about 30 minutes, if you forget to turn the bike off, it'll power itself down. Or you can leave that, you can turn that off, and then that function is no longer working. Password. So let's go back to that whole security situation. What's to say that you put your bike somewhere, you set the lock, and somebody else comes up that knows Aventon really well, gets to that screen and unlocks it and rides away. Well, what you can do is you can actually enter a password that only you know that protects the bike from someone else being to access it. In fact, it would keep someone else from even being able to turn the power on. System info allows you to just see a little bit more information about your bike, including the software version and the serial number. Set date and time. This gives me the ability to set the date, of course, and the time of day so that the time is correct when you look at the screen. And connect to app. This is one of the really nice features of this bike, because once you download the app on your smartphone, you can actually sync your phone to your bike, allowing you to make some changes that you couldn't otherwise do if you didn't sync to the bike. One of those changes is this bike comes as a 20-mile-an-hour maximum speed in pedal assist. If you sync to the bike, the phone to the bike, you can make that adjustment to bump that up to 28 miles an hour. You don't have to do that. In fact, 28 miles an hour is probably faster than most people need to go. But that is just an example of one of the things you can do when you sync your phone to the bike. And again, that's connect to app. So you would download the app on your phone, which is free. The first thing it does when you open up the app, it says connect to bike or sync to bike. You'll press this button and you'll see a QR code. Using your camera, then you would go to that QR code, and that would then allow you to access or bring the syncing the bike to the phone. It'll ask you a few questions along the way, because at that point you're also registering your bike with Aventon, so Aventon knows who owns that bike. One other thing I didn't mention earlier when we were in this menu is by pressing the center button but not holding it, just pressing it, trip 1, actually your trip distance, your trip time, your average speed, your maximum speed, how many miles are on the odometer. This bike is our demo bike, so it does have 7.9 miles on it, and it's been ridden 1 hour and 31 minutes. Average speed has been 5.2 miles per hour, and because we don't have it in a specific, I had the assistance off, it's not going to tell us the range. Let me run through. We're going to put the assistance level on Eco. Then we'll go back and run through to that final window, which gives us our range. So based on the amount of power still left in the battery, we have 54.7 miles left as long as we use it in the Eco mode. If we were to change it and go to one of the other two modes, that number would reduce. So going back, we simply press the middle button. Now you're back in your main screen and ready to use your bike. So that gives you kind of an idea of how to use the Aventon Pace. You'll find that several Aventon models use this same computer, so all of the instructions I just gave applies to several of the models. However, a couple of the bikes do use a slightly different computer, which does a lot of the same things, but you may access some of these things a little differently. So there you go. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned a little bit about the Aventon Pace and how it operates. We are the fitness store, serious bikes for serious fun. We're located on the corner of 14th and Dewey in Manitowoc. See you next time.